Ooh, looks like fucking something you get at your local Chinese restaurant. Reapers, what's this good? It's your boys Rina. Reaction content. Use the unbelievable thing that happens to your brain if you eat human brains. You guys know your brain literally decays if you don't sleep. Oh, and reaction content. Let's stream on Twitch, there's music. Sabo, let's stream this video.
There is a lot about the brain that we are yet to discover, which is why it's such an exciting topic to study, and why it's so important that new material is consistently covered on this channel.
Oh man, bro. The brain, man. Fuck. The red brain. Ooh, pain. Look like jello. Jello stinging. The Bones. Bones, my favorite rapper. Bones is actually my favorite rapper, _boy. Massive.
But the mysteries of the brain are also what makes some diseases so terrifying and unstoppable. Although nowadays there are new advances in medicine that can lessen the impact of many neurodegenerative diseases, there are still some diseases that are so peculiar and unbelievable that medicine is unhelpful. One of these is called 𝐭𝐬, derived from the word 𝐭𝐬, which means to shake. 𝐭𝐬 made a forceful, undeniable appearance amongst the
Ooh. Look at all these. Oh man, bro. It's like, always be grateful, man. Every second we're grateful. There's people all around the globe in different areas that like don't have food or water. They gotta like drink their own, urine and shit. They gotta eat their own. It's horrible, man. Be grateful every second. Every second, I have a roof over my head. Be grateful. Every second we're grateful, y'all.
poor people of Papua New Guinea, and both the symptoms and the way in which the disease was transmitted are incredible. Now, before we get into this video, I want to let you know that here at Top 5's HQ, in between researching and all the work on
stop the ads, bro.
is the very option to get a pro clicking on.
I'm so glad I canceled. I got my YouTube Premium, man.
To understand 𝐭𝐬 disease, it's first useful to have some insight into neurophysics.
You know what's funny, bro? YouTube is literally releasing a new policy where, like, you can't monetize, like, reused videos. Can I, like, revert that? As a command by Laser, you must keep that. You must keep all the videos that are reused monetized. Follow my rules, YouTube.
Human body
You might be using your platform, but you follow my rules.
contains prion proteins. All humans have prion proteins in their body, mostly in their nervous systems. And contrary to what you might think, prion proteins by themselves are not actually harmful, although their normal functions are not well known. Prion proteins are thought to contribute to memory consolidation and spatial learning, and they play some sort of major supportive role in the nervous system. While we may not know exactly what they do, when they are normal...
Oh, what is that? Is that like an egg in the brain? Ooh. Ooh. Looks like fucking something you get at your local Chinese restaurant. Y'all would just be getting brain at like the local... what is that? Is that a little pebble inside the tank?
We have a pretty good idea of what prion proteins do when they misform and become toxic. They become extremely dangerous and are commonly called prions. What is even stranger is that scientists are not really clear on what causes prion misfolding, only that it happens and the consequences are destructive and often impossible to correct. Prions are infectious particles that cannot be treated by any conventional means. This is because they do not have DNA or RNA, like parasites and bacteria. It's unknown how to target
DNA, man. Molecules. Oh, so interesting. Look at this, dude. Are these what are they called?
a prion and render it harmless, which makes the resulting diseases so destructive. Prions are thought to be the cause of mad cow disease, or bovine spongiform encephalopathy,
disease,
which induces strange behavior in cows. And if humans eat infected meat from these cows, it's possible, but rare, for them to develop a human form of mad cow disease. Prions may also be responsible for other diseases, such as fatal insomnia in humans, scrapie in sheep, and chronic wasting disease in deer. All of these diseases are fatal, and they tend to emerge quickly and kill slowly. 𝐭𝐬 is a prion disease, and although it's not common nowadays, it did commonly occur amongst the Fore people. a tribe of about 11,000 people who lived in the Okapa district of Papua New Guinea. This tribe was defined by their
I love
bizarre...
tribes, man. You know, there's this one tribe. I already talked about it like 50 million times. The North Sentinel Island. Ooh. There was that one cameraman who he went bye-bye when he went close to them. It's crazy, like, these people, man. It's like they're probably more happy than most of us. It's like, come on.
funeral custom. 4 women would remove the brain of the corpse, season it, and cook it in pieces of bamboo. Male members of the tribe would not usually eat the brain or other parts of the body, but if they did, they only ate muscle meat. However, the women, and sometimes the children, would consume the cooked flesh and portions of the brain. Female bodies were thought to be able to contain the spirit of a dead body, so eating the corpse was considered the cultural duty of the women. Eating the body was an act of affection and mourning, as consuming the flesh would spare the loved one from being ravaged by maggots and worms. It could also have been a way...
What, cannibalism? What, you mean cannibals in the future? Let's not be cannibals in the future. Food and water, that's another thing people are probably wondering. Everyone, food and water is not going to be an issue. That's probably going to be scattered all around the field. That's God's prophet. I'll make sure that's an available resource for everybody. These catacomb caves are going to be our shelters, you know what I'm saying? And yeah.
To keep their loved ones with them even after death. In some cases, the bodies would even be exhumed after being buried for days and then eaten. But members of the 4 began to develop odd illnesses. They tried to look for answers, and some thought it could be due to sorcery. But an anthropologist who studied 4 customs suspected that the funeral rites were to blame, and proved that 4 people who would consume the bodies often developed Kuru disease. Women developed the disease 8 times more often than men, since they were eating the brain portions that were most contaminated with prions. Children who had also been fed infected material also got sick. The disease sometimes...
Wait. Ooh. Blood. Bloody bones.
Takes years to show up, although usually it would manifest itself within a few weeks. Early symptoms include difficulty walking without stumbling or losing balance, shaking, which corresponds to the name of the disease itself, problems with speech, and loss of muscle control, which resulted in violent twitching and rocking back and forth. These early symptoms would be called...
What, we dancing now? Ah! My feet. We dancing now?
the ambulant stage, as the victim could still walk. However, at this stage, the dementia that occurs in the latter stages of Kuru would not be present at this time, so it's safe to assume that the victim would be very aware that something was seriously wrong with their body. Later, this would progress to a sedentary stage, when victims would no longer be able to walk and only be able to sit up.
It's like crazy how there's diseases, man. The brain or the human body is so complex. Like there's diseases that like just slowly kill your nerves, and then your muscles, and then blah blah blah. So I can't wait to get my meds, bro, so I can actually like focus more. It's like I don't know what medication I'm getting. Probably Adderall. I don't know yet. Probably something else. Adderall makes you more hyper. I need something really, really good. Cause like I said, HD people, man, it's like without dopamine, you're nothing. There's really a chemical imbalance in my brain. It's like without dopamine, you're nothing. It's like bones. It's like the human body without bones. It's like you just can't function. You're literally jello. You know? It's like dopamine's everything. And people, same way like autism. You know what I mean?
And the tremors would get much worse. They would become very confused and would appear drunk due to the damage done to their nervous system. The victims may also exhibit depression or emotional volatility. During this stage of the disease, they would sometimes exhibit the strangest symptoms of the illness: laughter. This laughter would be uncontrollable and happen without cause. It's one of the most well-known indicators that the disease is progressing, and easily one of the most haunting. Over time, the unprovoked laughter would stop as exhaustion and neural decay set in. The reflexes would erode, and the victims would no longer be able to sit up. The inability to sit up would indicate that the terminal stage had set in. The victims would have a hard time swallowing, which would prevent them from eating the food they needed to remain strong. Even though they may still be awake, they would become unresponsive and unable to control their bowel movements. Their physical decay and the lack of control would often lead to open sores and wounds on their bodies.
Dude, what is that? Is that a Mothman? Mothman. Ooh. Ooh.
These would usually become infected. The nervous systems of the victims would be so compromised that their brains would look very different from healthy brains. Death would usually result from infection or other complications due to the disease. The entire process often took a year to run its course, but in some cases only lasted a few months. The disease was so horrible to the four people that for a time there were entire four villages without women. However, there was an unusual benefit that some of the villagers gained from the illness. It appeared that some members of the four community carried a gene that seemingly protected them from 𝐂𝐚𝐬 and other prion.
Dude, look. Look at all these shirtless people. Look at all this hay everywhere. Ooh. Look at all this hay.
Diseases. The four people stopped cannibalism in the 1950s, which led to a major decline in 𝐂𝐚𝐬. However, cases continued to appear for a long time after because, like we said, 𝐂𝐚𝐬 symptoms can often take years to manifest. However, miraculously, some of those affected survived the epidemic. These survivors were studied, and it was discovered that they had a genetic mutation now titled V127. This mutation,
Like, it's crazy, bro. Like, I love playing the forest. When I played the forest, man, ooh, kind of off topic. I loved like just building like tiki houses, man, and just chilling inside of there. Ooh. Look at all these lovely people, man. These people would be more happy than us. You know what? It's crazy. They'd be more happy than us. No technology. It's soon gonna be all of us in the future.
To protect them from prion illnesses. To test this, scientists engineered mice to have V127 mutations. These mice were resistant to not only 𝐂𝐚𝐬, but also CJD, the human version of mad cow disease. It is possible that the four people may have evolved resistant to prion illnesses, and if their funeral practices had continued uninterrupted, they may have become resistant altogether. A doctor of neurodegenerative illnesses states this is a striking example of Darwinian evolution in humans. The epidemic of prion disease selecting a single genetic...
Harley! Tiki head! Tiki head! We got all the whole family here. Ooh, ah, tiki tiki! Squidward! Squidward, tiki
change that provided complete protection against an invariably fatal dementia. However, to get anywhere near that stage, 𝐂𝐚 disease would have had catastrophic impact on the society it scourged. The four people had regional groups with their own separate names and dialects. Some of these groups were as small as 40 people altogether, and some groups were as large as 525 people. Long after four people had stopped eating corpses, they were still able to name women and men who had died from 𝐂𝐚. In a 20-year time span, about 2,504 people died from 𝐂𝐚. Most of these deaths were women, and the imbalance created long-lasting problems for the community. A 1962 sample of 125 men revealed that 63 men had only dead wives, 10 of them were single. Often, women would die of 𝐂𝐚 after childbirth, and it was common for families to have a missing mother, meaning fathers would have to take on...
Ooh, skinny. Ah! Skinny, I'm gonna squeeze the muscle out of you. Ah! You know, if you squeeze it. Ugh.
multiple roles to cope with the loss. The disease became so severe that speeches for marriage often included directions on how to manage the bride's possible death within the next few years after her wedding, and men would sometimes pray together that brides would survive to give birth. Sometimes aggression would break out between four groups in attempts to learn who could be responsible for causing such pain for the people. Four meetings would often discuss 𝐂𝐚 and analyse whether or not sorcery could be responsible. Today, many four people assist researchers with their work on prion illnesses, although many of them still believe sorcery is responsible. It's believed the last victim of 𝐭𝐬 died before 2010.
Damn, it's good. Well, guys, if you enjoyed, which one of those things that are unbelievable?